Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode in our distribution series for Jenerise Cr.01. My name is Rachael Jennings. I'm the co-founder and chief brand officer at Jenerise, a company that I run together with my dad, and all we focus on is creatine innovation and education. In this series, we're introducing you to the partners that we've chosen to bring Cr.01 to market in as many regions as possible. And today I'm really excited to bring Dean Hall onto the show. He's calling in from South Africa, literally stood outside under a beautiful blue sky. So Dean, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you for the opportunity.
I'm excited, and we actually signed our agreement really quite a while ago. You were the first one to sign, and we're really happy to have Solo exclusively distributing Creatine-1 for us in South Africa. And your role there is as managing director, and the company has been operational for more than 10 years, and you pretty much focus exclusively on innovative ingredient solutions that are rooted in nature, backed by science, and then with a heavy focus on quality as well. So tell me a little bit about the backstory here. How long have you known my dad, and how did we get connected, Jenerise and Solo?
I think the relationship has gone back about a year and a half. Obviously, picking up on a lot of Steve's social feeds. Really exciting developments coming through from Steve, and obviously, what caught my attention a year and a half ago was the liquid stable creatine that is in the pipeline and coming through. So that's a very exciting development, and I reached out to Steve to explore that potential a little bit further, and that's how our relationship has developed from there.
I love that you're already talking about what's in the pipeline, because Creatine-1 is going to lay the foundations as our flagship ingredient, and then future rollouts will lay on top of that. So it's a really nice opportunity for brands to kind of get started, build that trust with us and you. And then later on, we'll be rolling out our liquid stable, and we've got 2 other things in the pipeline as well. Dean, what was the moment where Solo really knew it was time to bring in a branded creatine ingredient for the South African market?
Yeah, if we look at the South African market, we see a lot of poor grade creatines coming into our market, and it's really price driven in our market. People are looking for cheaper solutions, but when you actually go into the stability and when you go into the purity of these creatines, it's quite clear to see that not all creatines are created equal. So I think that's what defines a trademark creatine, is really the purity, and when you're consuming a creatine like this, you don't get that gritty taste. And, once you stir it, it clears up almost immediately. And these are telltale signs of a good quality creatine. And I just felt that the South African market...
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, I just felt the South African market was not educated enough in terms of good quality creatines, and what we see in the South African market is the creatines are definitely on the rise, and that's coming from social media. We see it's been repositioned, especially in women's health, which is nice to see. The skin health benefits, and of course the brain health benefits.
Look, it was really important for me as chief brand officer to launch Creatine-1 and not be excluding a lot of key markets. And we often see that South Africa or Australia, New Zealand, when I talk to Cam, they have to wait years for the brands that they see online, the ingredients or the products that they see on social media. So it's a huge goal for us to be able to fold South Africa in as early as possible. And it's a really exciting time, to be able to deliver that quality to as many people as possible. How does Creatine-1 fit into your vision for Solo in the next 3-5 years? I know we were talking last week in person in Barcelona. We met up, which was amazing. You shared some ideas for different product developments and formulations and use cases. But how does it fit into the vision for Solo and where you're taking the company?
Look, what we would like to position it, and we're exploring these potentials, is more from a clinical perspective. Speaking to doctors, a lot more people are interested in creatine, and I think having the science that actually guarantees and all the stability data and the third-party testing that Jenerise has in place for their Creatine 1.0 it's an exciting space to be, and it's a really pure creatine, and I think it should be well positioned amongst practitioners and doctors, and I think that's a space that we're really focusing on hard at the moment. We believe there's great opportunity in that space, because There's a lot of sports nutrition is another area that we're focusing on, just to offer a better quality creatine that's currently being used, and which will obviously give your athletes much better results at the end of the day. So these are key focuses for us at the moment with Solo.
I know we signed our agreement really quickly. It was like a couple of conversations and we were both all in. And for us, it was really clear that Solo was a great choice for a couple of reasons. First of all of the questions that you had in the initial discussions about Creatine 1, hitting all of those, focuses not just on price, but on what is actually being delivered, and especially that third-party verification piece through SGS, which we're so proud of, to meet the new standards from the International Creatine Organization and Network. And you had a really clear sort of expectation, for what you would consider to be a viable creatine for Solo to sell. And then also that relationship piece, we have really good communication between the two of us, and we met last week in Barcelona, and you've been following the sort of foundations that Jenerise has led for the last year, because we've just done content for like a year without selling anything, and so people have been really curious, and you've been following that closely, and that's meant a lot to us as well. About the ingredient, you've been talking about purity being so important, and the utility as well, easy to dissolve, not having a bitter aftertaste. What are you most excited about Creatine 1 being able to offer to, end consumers in South Africa, but also companies, brands, founders, etc.?
So what we're seeing in South Africa is obviously there's a change in our regulation happening, where a lot more emphasis is on, quality and, science-backed type of ingredients. We see that the regulators are definitely moving into that type of area, which is very welcome, because, that's the reason why we partner with companies like Jenerise to offer that type of, they can offer all the clinical data that backs up the quality, third-party testing and stuff like that. So I think just from that perspective, the quality and the support that we get from Jenerise is, and where the regulations are moving, is really where the benefit lies for us in promoting the creatine to our customers.
Last week in Barcelona, you also shared a bit of your personal creatine origin story with us. It was entertaining, and I'd love to wrap up with that for today. So how did it all start for you?
So obviously, many years ago, I'm talking back in about 1996, 1997, I was a professional rugby player, and I was just coming into professionalism under 21 as a rugby player. And we were into creatine for the first time. There was a product on the market called Ultimate Orange, which was the first time we took creatine. And as we started taking the creatine, we could see the strength gains, we could see the explosiveness improve. And I mean, being a young guy and being part of a young team of young players, we were quite fueled on testosterone and natural testosterone. And we were, it was an exciting time in my life. And but it was just phenomenal to see the results of the creatine we took at that time. And we eventually overdosed, I think, on the creatine. And I think half of us started turning orange, we took so much Ultimate Orange creatine. But it was an exciting time, and that was the first time that I really saw the benefits of creatine. And if you're a high performing athlete, it's almost a necessity. I mean, if you want to be competitive out there, it's almost there's no substitute for creatine as an athlete, to be honest. So it really has a place in sports. And if you're looking to take your training gains to the next level, it's what creatine is all about.
I love that story, and I've been asking all our distributors, and they all have a good origin story with their personal creatine supplementation. And to finish for today, Dean, for anybody listening who wants to get in touch about, working with Solo on a Creatine 1 project, what would that look like, and what can people expect if they want to actually purchase Creatine 1 from Solo?
They can reach out directly to me at dean@sologroup.co.za. We're happy to entertain any of the inquiries. We're excited about the opportunity in the market, and we're excited about the potential of this high-grade creatine can offer in our market. So, we're there, my team's there, we're on standby, and we look forward to receiving all your inquiries.
Amazing. I'll make sure that Dean's email and the website are in the description of this video. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, I'm sure Dean would be happy to answer any DMs or comments as well. So feel free to reach out. Dean, I'm so excited to get Creatine-1 into market in South Africa. And I think there's a big and bright future ahead for both Solo and Jenerise.
Excellent. Rachel, thank you so much for the opportunity, and nice chatting to you again. Thank you so much.